Hey guys, this is Bruce. Welcome to ConvoCourses podcast. And today, what I'll be talking about is impact of the shutdown. It's gone over a month now, and what I'm going to do about it, and just giving you my honest opinion, guys. And if you guys didn't know, I am somebody who is in the industry right now. I'm a cybersecurity person, mostly work in GRC. That's my specialty. Doing a lot of vulnerability management type stuff. I'm a contractor for the government, so I'm directly impacted by whatever everything's going on right now. And also I have a free book. I just went transitioning slowly from mainly GRC and vulnerability management into including more of a cloud security bent to my career path. And I recently got employed as a cybersecurity cloud security person. So it's really exciting time. But that said, now it's all jeopardized because the shutdown, everything that's going on. So I'm going to be real with you guys about that. During my journey going into getting into AWS in particular, doing cloud stuff, I took notes. Like I took copious lots of notes and stuff, and those notes helped me pass. And so what I did was I wrote a book. I took my notes and I expanded on those notes to make a whole book so I can help other people. And that's normally what, if you look at any of my content, it's based off of real world experiences. What I do is I'm on this journey and I always try to bring as many people with me as possible. And the reason why I do this is I feel like this has been a very rewarding career path that's changed my life of my family, and it's given me a lot of perks. And I noticed that a lot of people complain about their job and about their career choices and have a lot of questions about it. So more and more I start talking about it. I started off with like a blog many years ago, and telling people about what I do, doing government compliance, security compliance. And as I got deeper into it, I started doing other industries, and I did private sector for a while, and back in public sector. So I just started helping people out. I just started doing videos about it, and then now I'm doing this community and getting more involved with helping people directly to get in this path. So all of my content is based off of that, and I would like to expand it at some point in the future. But right now, it's cloud. So I'm inviting you guys to join me on this cloud journey. I got a free book out there if you're interested. And it's only free for like the next 4 days. So if you go ahead and click the link, go to ConvoCourses, and there's a link to the book. And if you're interested in becoming a cloud person or joining me in this journey, working on the AWS, or not even getting the AWS certification, maybe you're curious about it and you want to know, that book breaks down all the things you're supposed to know as a cloud, AWS cloud person. So it's very fundamental stuff. And I want to start off by telling you guys about what's going on with the shutdown. So shutdown, U.S. has shut down the government because our legislators and the executive branch cannot decide on how to spend the budget, how to go over the budget, I should say. They can't decide how they want to overspend, and so now they're in this. They can't decide. So now there's like a stalemate, and one side doesn't want to. Both sides really are culpable for this. They're both responsible. Um, regardless of whatever your political leanings are, I'm just going to tell you what's really happening. So I work for a branch of the government as a contractor, and we're only funded to like the last part of the year, right? That means when they made the contract with the government, with this particular department of the government, they had only so much money till the end of the year, and then they have to a new money is allocated from the budget, right? That's how it works. So if the budget's not released, then they don't get paid until the new budget is released. So then the company will go into become at risk, which means the company's got to take it upon themselves to pay the employees. Now, I've been in this situation before, and what happens is it depends on the company. If the company is extremely strong, extremely solvent, and has lots of money, like very fiscally responsible. Sometimes what they'll do is, and it really depends on the contract too, they'll just keep all of their employees and say, look, we haven't gotten our new budget from the government yet. They haven't paid us, but we're going to continue to pay our employees because we have confidence that the government's going to pay us. So we'll continue to keep our staff here and keep going. And normally in cybersecurity, that's what they do. The folks is mostly at risk right now. It's definitely the federal civil servants who are let go. Like they are not working. They're at home or on vacation or whatever. But they're supposed to get paid when they come back. The contractors, we're still working, but what'll happen is if the money runs out or they're not willing to go at risk their own capital and pay their employees, they'll start letting some of us go. The first to go is the subcontractors. You have a main contractor who gets the budget directly from the government, and the subcontractor is where the main contractor, the primary contractor, will then hire other smaller companies to help them with other things that they either don't have the skill set to do, or just don't have. It's cheaper for them to go hire a company to go staff those people. I'm on one of those subcontracts. And sometimes what happens is after you've been there for a while, like 2-3 months or a year or whatever the case may be, they'll hire me or the subcontractors on to the main contractor, whatever. Sometimes it works that way, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm a subcontractor, and after this budget is expended at probably the end of this month, I might get let go and have to go elsewhere. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know how this is going to go. In the meantime, I got to think to myself, well, is that something I want to, am I okay with that? That's what I have to think about. So, and I am thinking about that. And that's something that, I'm not so sure about that. So what I'm thinking of doing is go ahead and putting in for jobs just in case. So I already start reaching out. But what I want to do is show you guys my process. Like, this is real. This is actually happening. And so you're seeing somebody who is a cybersecurity professional who has an extensive GRC background about to apply for jobs. Now, this is crazy because I just got hired. I just did this whole process. But because the government is so volatile and so much stuff is happening, it's the nature of the beast. So I want to show you guys that process. And at the same time, if you're interested, I do have a free book out right now that chronicles my notes that I took, that I used to actually go ahead and earn a AWS CCP or certified cloud practitioner. And that actually helped me get into the cloud space as a cloud security person. And that journey gets really interesting. And the book that I'm showing you is just like what I studied, and it breaks it all down if you're interested in that. So that said, let me show you guys my journey to possibly get another job. I just want to show you like what I really do when I'm thinking about getting a job. So the first thing I'll do is I assess my resume. Take a look at my resume and say, okay, what is it? What do I need to update on my resume? Because I need to be marketable. To stay marketable, I have to continuously stay relevant, which means I got to sharpen my skills. I got to include all the things that I've done. And I'm pretty on top of this. So usually when I do something major in my career, if I like learn a new tool or I do some crazy thing at the company that helps them out with the customer, I'll usually document it and I'll put it on my resume. And then that usually eventually finds its way to my profiles on LinkedIn. So let me just show you the first part of that process, my resume. So I'm going to go to, bear with me here. I'm going to go to my resume. Let me see. So here is my most current resume. And what I need to do is update. Let me show you guys my screen here. That's one thing I forgot to do. Let me go ahead and share this screen. There we go. Yeah, so here we go right here. So here's my resume, and all I'm doing is updating it. I read through it and make sure that I have all my updated stuff. Now I already started this process, so this is what my resume was before. This was me a few months ago, and I looked at this right before this, and I'm like, damn, this thing needs to be updated. It's pretty old, man. I'm missing all kinds of stuff. I don't know what I was thinking with this one, but yeah, I have to. It's time for me to figure out, what is missing. So right now, what's missing is I did a way more stuff here than this at my previous position, and I just took another job, so I got to add all that stuff. So that's what I did here. My new updated one. So just to kind of read through this. So this is an ATS style resume, and the ATS style resume is the only reason it's really important is because when you update this, when you upload this, when you import it into a job aggregator, the job aggregators know how to take it and parse it and put it into its format. And so it will fill out most of your profile for you based off of what you have on this ATS style resume. So it has the first name, last name. You can also put all your LinkedIn information up here. You can put your phone number, all that kind of stuff. That's all relevant. That's all cool stuff that I normally put it here, but for the sake of this, let's just keep going. Any kind of degrees, you can put it up here if it's impactful, but you can also put these below. I mean, it's just as effective if you put it below. And then I try to keep this part short and sweet and keep as many keywords that I want them to see as possible. Like right here, I didn't do a very good job of this. I should have put cloud stuff in here, so I'll just put some notes. I would put cloud relevant stuff such as the AWS SAA, which I'm working on right now. I would put that in there. I would also put in here recent certifications that I got. I got the CCP, other tooling, security tooling that I've done, such as I got a deeper knowledge of Splunk and something called Exonius. And then I would put all the key stuff in here that I'm learning. And that needs to go up top. So that's one thing I would do for this. I'm going to have to do some part of my homework before I go uploading this everywhere. My most current job, this is real, by the way. Things I've currently done, I put all this stuff here, all the actions I've taken, and you can see I put as many keywords in this first part as possible, relevant to the type of job I'm going to try to get into. And then I would go ahead and update anything in here. Sometimes the wording changes on things. Like recently AI got big. I know that in our last organization I was in, they started implementing AI, and we had to actually use a little bit of it. It became relevant in where we're at. And so I definitely need to document that. And that's what I did here, and go through, make sure everything is good, update things, update keywording, that kind of thing. Super important. The next step I'm going to do once I go through this whole thing is I'm going to go ahead and upload this into, Dice, my favorites, LinkedIn. I'm going to go ahead and go to LinkedIn Premium. That worked for me last time. I'm going to go to Dice. I'm going to upload it there. I'm going to upload it on Monster, Career Builder, ZipRecruiter. These are all great places to put your resume. And that's the process. Another thing that I do that I'm not sure if other people do this, but this is something I do quite frequently, is that I'm extremely aggressive with my resume. What I mean by that is I'll start contacting organizations. I will contact organizations. I also will start something called Use Massive, which is an AI that you upload it and it'll start pushing out your resume it'll match your resume out to the specific employers that match you. It's not just pumping it out to irrelevant organizations that have a 0% chance of you getting hired. It will line you up with organizations that are most relevant to what you do. And so that's another thing I'll do. And this right here, what it'll do, this tactic that I have, what it does is it allows me to get some interviews. And so I've noticed that once I get about 3 interviews, out of those 3 interviews, I'll normally get a job. So I'll submit my resume literally hundreds of times, like 200, average around 250 times, right? Of me to relevant people. Like I'm not just pumping it out to just random organizations that I know I'm not going to get the job. I have a chance of getting a job. Like I'll go there, submit it. I'll use Massive that matches me automatically, and I'll submit to those different jobs. It'll automatically submit me to those places. And then out of those 250 different submissions, I'll get a bunch of calls back. Normally I'll get, out of 250, I'll get probably 30, 40 contacts back. 30, 40 contacts, meaning screeners are emailing me directly or messaging me on Indeed, messaging me on Dice, on Monster. And what I've noticed is the more interactive I am with them, if I just ignore them or I'm not checking my messages on Monster or whatever, then if I don't get back with them within about a week, then they find somebody else, because this market is very aggressive. But if I am on top of it and constantly contacting people, constantly going through, like really aggressive, then I'll get the interviews. And then those out of 3 interviews, boom, one of those will offer me a job. That's what I've noticed. So 250 submissions, right? Out of first step, get your resume tight. Line it up with what you want to do. Put all the keywords, update anything that you've done, update the keywords. People are using sometimes they're using different verbiage on things. I'll update all that stuff. Once I got everything updated on my resume, I'll start uploading and importing that into profiles. I think about 10 of them are good. When you do that, you got to be careful, because you will get contacts. People will contact the hell out of you. So make sure the phone number that you give them is something that's not going to bug you all day. If you have if you have a phone number, a throwaway phone number that you can use, or a throwaway email, use that, because you're going to get a lot of contacts if you do what I'm doing. And that's what I get, a lot of contacts. So out of all those contacts, I'm not contacting everybody back, right? I don't want every job. I only want a couple of really good jobs. So I'm very picky about who I contact back, what screeners I'm contacting back, who I want to contact me. I'm not picking up my phone every time. But for those ones that are lucky enough to get my call, then I vet them. I am interviewing them as much as they're interviewing me, because I want to know what is the range that they're paying? What kind of benefits do they have? What kind of organization is this? If I'm really interested, I'll even research. I'll go to Glassdoor to figure out what people are saying, what former employees have said about the organization. I'm vetting them. So I'll get about 40 of those that I go through, that I'll talk to the screener and then figure out if I'm interested. And then out of those 40, I might submit my stuff to like 10. Out of those 10, it comes down to like 3 that'll contact me back, or maybe even 1, and I got to start the whole process over again, get the interview. And out of every 3 interviews, I get 3 different companies. Those 3 interviews, by the way, usually have an average of 3 individual interviews. So I'll have 3 companies that I'll contact, that I'll give me an interview, but those 3 interviews will usually branch out into 3 other interviews within that company. Does that make any sense? Excluding the screener. I'm not including the screener. The screener is the first person you contact. They send you to a real interview. You get the real interview. with like I don't know, it could be a technical person, a hiring manager, something like that. And then after you pass that interview, they'll pass you on to somebody more technical, more in the weeds. You'll get an interview with that person. Then there's usually one last interview. And then once you pass that one, that's it. So I'll go through a total of 3 main interviews, and each one of those will be 3. So it'll be around 6 interviews that I go to. So all of this usually takes about, it depends on how aggressive I am. If I'm very, very aggressive, I can do it within about 45 days. Within about 45 days from the very beginning, I'll have a job offered to me. I don't always want another job. Like, I'm not always interested, but it kind of depends. Okay, I'm getting some questions here. I'm open to questions, guys. If you have them, I do see your messages here on TikTok. I see them here on YouTube. So I'm gonna start there. Hey, Larry, how you doing? Security expert, how you doing? And everybody else on LinkedIn who's watching, I appreciate you guys, all your support on the book and watching and everything. Really appreciate it. Okay, let me see here. Larry says remaining versatile and staying on the lookout for new potential, more secure opportunities is important. And one of the great things about security, I'll say, is that it remains pretty secure. My skill set has had to evolve a bit, right? I've had to add new things to the toolbox, so to speak, even as a GRC person. As you know, I mean, I'm older now, so I think if you're a new person, like one of the very first things that you need to do is learn, is include a knowledge base of whatever industry you're in. If you're in an industry where you guys use a lot of PCI DSS, you should probably learn that extensively. If you're in an industry that uses NIST 800, you should learn that risk management framework. If you're in an industry where you guys are using a lot of HIPAA, you should learn that. Like, learn is that right there. If you put that in your toolbox as a GRC person, that's going to get you in the door. I've been doing this for a while, and now I'm trying to maintain what I have and level up a bit. So I've had to include different things in my toolbox, and that's what's helped me to remain versatile. And cloud was the next thing I needed to do. So that's why I started getting more into cloud. Okay, let me see. Somebody said, wishing you the best. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. I'm kind of on the same situation with a contractor under NASA. Yeah, it's just, I don't really know what's going to happen. So I'm having to work. I'm starting to think about that. Like, what move am I going to make in order to stay gainfully employed, right? Because I don't know. I know I can get a job, but I know it's going to take me an average of about 30 to 40 days to get a new position. So I'm already actually looking. So it sucks, but that's how it is. I mean, I really like this current job I'm at. Like, this is a huge career move for me. Like, I'm able to maintain what I'm currently was making at the last job, retain most of what I'm doing, but kind of transition into a cloud security position. It's exactly what I wanted. And the money is not like there, right? But I'm starting off as a cybersecurity person making the same thing I'm a cloud security person making the same thing. So I really can't complain. Like, I've been in positions where I've made a transition in, right? And I knew I'm an entry level person. So it's gonna level off or it's gonna dip. So, I got to take what I can get. And Larry is continuing the conversation here. Larry says, I think the days of loyalty to one business organization are in the past. Yep, that's a fact. That is a fact, and it's just the nature of what the direction things have gone in the United States. I don't know if that's anywhere else is the same, but in this market, that's how it's been. Where the days of like being loyal to one company for many, many years is just gone, unfortunately. Let me see. Somebody said I have 2 questions. Shoot, if you're still here, ask me the questions. This is the time to answer, get some answers. Speaking of which, interested in in an article by Forbes about this very topic. Okay, let me see that. I see you put a link here. Let me see if I can get to that link. See if I can get to that link. And while I'm messing around with this link, it says, okay, top tech skills still thriving in a down market. Let me see if I can find that. Top tech skills thriving in a down job market. It's going to be security. It's going to be security, cloud, and AI. Yep. Damn. How did I know? Let me show you guys what I'm seeing here. I just typed that in. I mean, I don't have the article just yet. I'm about to bring it up. But let's see if I can. There we go. So all I typed in was top tech skills. I'm looking for the Forbes article, actually. Let me just bring that up here. All right, that's not good right there. Let me see if I can switch the views. Okay, there we go. Top tech skills still thriving in a down job market. And this was, when was this written? 2025, 15th. Okay, cool. Let's just kind of skim through this. So far, 2025 has been a rough year for tech professionals, according to NerdWallet. As of 2025, nearly 90,000 tech jobs have been laid off in the United States. It's an alarming statistic. Both seasoned tech professionals and recent graduates, but even in a cooling tech market, certain skills continue to command attention and premium pay. From the emerging areas like agentic AI, blockchain security, to timeless capabilities like data engineering, communication, employers are zeroing in on specialized expertise that blend technical depth and real-world impact. Okay, let's see. Prompt engineering. I mean, I don't know that I would include this into a skill. I would say just having a deeper understanding of AI would include prompt engineering. So I guess me personally, I wouldn't say prompt engineering. I don't think that that's that's not enough. If that's all you know, it's not enough. But if you understand the trends of AI, and if you know how to use some of the tools in AI, like using APIs to get to AI, things like that, that's a big skill. Validating AI with business expertise. Yes, this is what I mean. So the business and domain expertise to validate AI before beginning automation or project or other projects remains vital. Okay. What else do they have here? Relating technology to business value, applying agentic AI, leveraging end-to-end security knowledge and domain expertise, optimizing and deploying AI models. Yeah, this is huge. Yeah, that's huge. Critical thinking and system thinking. Yes, absolutely important. This would be on your resume. You'd put problem solving, and then you would give examples of how you've solved the problem. And then handling multifaceted cybersecurity needs. Yep, this is huge, and this is why I've remained gainfully employed for so long, because I understand cybersecurity. Kubernetes, this one's freaking huge. More and more organizations are using containers because it's really important how they scale and make so much money to include so much, to be able to meet the needs of many different customers all over the world all at once. And this is something I'm currently learning. Like, I'm getting deeper into this. Something like Kubernetes. Translating complex technical tech into clear business values. This right here is GRC. This is one of the main things you have to learn how to do with GRC, and this is why you have to have some kind of IT background or knowledge. You need to have a real strong IT understanding so that you can explain technical things clearly to business people. This is a huge thing. And this is, and if you're a project manager, if you have exposure to, if you are adjacent to AI, to IT, you can speak to these things. You can, and by including some of the basics of IT, you can then go a little bit one step further into GRC. Deploying and maintaining real world AI systems, understanding code. Understanding code, this is mostly for DevOps. I have not had to learn this, but it's something more and more I'm having to do as I'm trying to expand my my value and make more money. So I'm having to actually learn some scripting. Data engineering, communicating clearly across functions. This is also a GRC thing right here. This one right here is big. AI powered pen testing. I'm sure that's going to get much bigger. So they've mentioned several things here that directly mention cybersecurity, which is why I'm trying to tell you guys like how important it is and how relevant it is to how relevant this is, how important it is, and I can't stress it enough. Like, it's really important to get it. It's been super stable for me as a career path, and that's why I keep telling people to get into it. Okay, let me keep going here. Those days are definitely gone. Yeah. I think a lot of people are honestly, unfortunately, unfortunate reality of our times we are all working in. I'm a federal government GS furloughed, no job, no check. Even I need something safer. Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because GS used to be the most important, not, well, I wouldn't say most important, but the most stable job is what I was trying to say. Most stable job was GS, and now with the way that the government's moving towards being in the pocket of big money, that has changed, right? And that's just my interpretation of it, of what is happening, of the government going further down this pipe of being in the pocket of big money. That's what seems like is happening on a big scale. I don't know if that's going to change with a new administration. Seems like it was kind of creeping in that direction before, and now we kind of just pushed it right off a cliff, to just allow big money to completely control the will of the U.S. I don't know what to say. I'm not sure what to say. I don't want to make this a political thing. Like, I'm just going off of what I'm observing. I don't really, I'm not in the know of what's going on. I just see what I'm seeing. So, Bruce created an online community. Yeah, ConvoCourses. If you guys are interested in joining ConvoCourses, just go to ConvoCourses.com and you'll see a join button. You'll see free stuff. Right now, I've got a free AWS book. I want you guys to join in my journey of going down this path of cloud. And how I was able to do it was do an AWS CCP certification, which is the easiest, most fundamental certification of AWS services. So if you're interested in that, you got 4 days to get it for free on Amazon, on KDP. Once you download it, that's yours forever. Now, as a bonus, I would love for you to give me 5 stars or give an honest opinion of the book. I would appreciate it. Anything helps, even if you click the link and go there, open the book up or whatever. All that stuff helps. So I appreciate any kind of help you guys can give. But you don't have to. You can just join the community and chit chat with us long after we're done with this, with our live here. Let me see. Got some more folks joining in. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Let's see if there's any other comments or questions we can allow everybody else to join in here. Yeah, join the community. This is The community is there's a lot of us there that are GRC professionals. And if you didn't know, GRC means governance, risk management, and compliance. It's been coined as a softer version of cybersecurity. It's not a less technical version of GRC. That said, I've been in some roles that were very technical GRC positions. What I love about GRC is the flexibility of it. It can go extremely technical, and then it can go the other way, where it's just mostly you writing policies and communicating with people, and more like a project management position with some cybersecurity sprinkled in. So I've had the full range. I've had one where all I did was write policies. That was it. And then I would do assessments, but even in the assessments, it wasn't hands-on. I would just go there and I was just looking at the documents, making sure they had them, that they were updated properly. And then when we're running things, I would have the actual operators run the systems, and then I was observing and collecting information to report back to our head of agency. So that was very little hands-on. But then I've been very hands-on. I've been in organizations where I was a GRC person, where they also had me fixing their SIEM device, their security information and event manager. They hired me on to do a little bit of GRC stuff, but then on the side, I was also fixing their SIEM stuff. So I was and that was part of the job. So, and then my last position actually was pretty hands-on. So not only was I doing what's called an information system security officer, which was purely GRC stuff, but we also had a lot of hands-on with the SIEM system. We had a lot of hands-on with devices that, vulnerability management, like it was use of scanners and having to interpret the information that we got from the scanners, things like that. So it can go very, very technical, and it depends on the job description of GRC. And remember, is governance, which is more like management type positions, like project manager, GRC manager, management positions, risk management, which is running scans, observing the vulnerabilities of the scan, interpreting the risk of the data you get back from a scan, doing some pen testing. That's risk management, and figuring out what is the impact to the organization. And then compliance, which is making sure the organization aligns with policies, with rules, with like FISMA or PCI DSS if you're in retail or whatever. So GRC is a huge field, and it can go super deep technical, or it can go the other way, which is just policy and everything in between. And that's what I love about it, because it's very inclusive. I've met all walks of life coming in, very, very super technical, hardcore people, to the other end of the spectrum, people who just got into this field or who've been in for a long time, but just never touched any kind of technical stuff. In my last job, as a matter of fact, was working directly with somebody who had a doctorate degree. Dude had a bunch of certifications. He'd been in for doing cybersecurity 20 years. Didn't really touch a lot of technical stuff. Barely knew how to use some of the more advanced features inside of Excel. Didn't know how to use Tenable at all, didn't know how to use any scanners. No, he didn't know how to use any tools, that we had to actually teach him. So this dude was just purely document for 20 years. I think those days are kind of over. Like those jobs exist, but because of what's happening now, they're having us wear different hats. So that's why I'm always I want you guys to have more of a technical grasp. I don't want you to get out there and be blindsided by all this technical stuff you got to do. So I'm always telling people to get as much hands-on as you can. You can do that at your house. If you're in school, start doing projects. You can do things to get yourself sharper. All right, let me see. I got some more comments here. I'm currently undergoing a top secret clearance process, and the investigation is completed, and it's now waiting for adjudication. How should I list this on my resume? There could be layoffs soon. Thanks. Let's cheat here. What we're gonna do is look at how other people listed on their resume. So I'll tell you how I do it, but let's also look at everyone. Let's just see what other people put on their resume, because I've seen kind of the spectrum of everybody of people do it, and there's been some argument on whether you should put anything on your resume that is talking about, you know, your TSSCI or whatever. But let's just take a look. Let's just see TSSCI. Yeah, I know you didn't say SCI, but I'm curious. So I typed it in. I'm in LinkedIn for those who are listening, and I just typed in TS/SCI, and I'm gonna look for, first of all, let's look for jobs that are looking for TSSCI. So on jobs, they regularly put that you need a TSSCI. So if it was bad to mention TSSCI at all, which, if you guys didn't know, top secret, SCI stands for compartmentalized. Help me out here. I don't remember. Information. Yeah. I believe it's compartmentalized information. I can't remember what the S stands for, man. I'm having a brain fart. But yeah, SCI is like a more stringent part of TS. So it's actually above and beyond TS. So here's the job. I just clicked on a job at TRM Labs. That is OSINT. And they're looking for somebody with a TSSCI, and they're talking about, yeah, we use blockchain intelligence company, where Labs is a blockchain intelligence company committed to fighting crime and creating a safer world. Okay, so that's what they do. And let's look at some of their requirements. I'm just trying to look for the TSSCI and see if they give us any more information. And they don't. It's in Washington, D.C. They really don't tell you what tools they use. But you could figure that out because it's OSINT. Let's look at another job here. I want to give you an idea of what people put in the job description before we go to people. So here's another one. This one is an organization called Sierra Space. It's in Centennial, Colorado. They're telling you all the things they need, including development, implement, and maintain security policies, procedures, and controls on the risk management framework. This is a very standard information system security officer job, and they're requiring you to have 2 years of experience, a bachelor's degree, a certification, and a TSSCI. And they have the amount here. And here's a little bit more information. Important notice: this position requires current and active top secret with a SCI eligibility, and current CI polygraph. And then it goes on to say U.S. security clearance. You have to be a U.S. citizen is required. Non-citizens may not be eligible to obtain a security clearance, and blah, 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 blah. It's going into great detail about what you need as an applicant in this industry, in this particular job. So now let's look at people. So we know that organizations regularly list on there that you have to have a top secret or a secret clearance or whatever have you, right? Now let's look at people. So I'm going to go here on LinkedIn. I'm going to do the drop down from jobs, and I'm going to look at people to see what people put on their resume. Now I put TS. If I had a top secret clearance, I would put it right on my resume and on my, and you can see a lot of people do it here. All walks of life are putting TSSCI on their resume. So I would put TS and spell it out. I would put both TS and I would spell it out. So this guy, the first thing you see is TSSCI. Know why he put that? It's because it's very valuable to have it on your resume. He wants people to know, hey, I have it. And look, he spells it out: top secret SCI clearance. So to answer your question, I would put it on my resume. You do want to be careful with certain things. You notice this guy is putting, and I'm not saying this is bad, but he's putting what he's done, but he's not putting specific. There's some information you don't want on here. You wouldn't want to put, there's certain names. If you guys have ever worked in a secret clearance, I mean, most people have not, but just so you know, there's certain words and names of systems that you cannot, because they're classified. You, of course, do not want to put that kind of stuff on your resume. Like, do not put that stuff on your resume. Locations, I would not put locations of secret places on my resume. I would even avoid some base names. If there's certain things that are sensitive that you do not, they should be obvious, but even if like this is going to help you with your resume, do not, if you have any kind of doubt whatsoever about it, don't put it on your resume. And as a matter of fact, it doesn't even help you. And let me tell you why. Because this is a good example. He's naming a system here. No, that's not a good example. So if you have a name, okay, he doesn't have it on here. If you had a name, I've worked for systems. I'll put it to you like this. I worked for systems that had names that, hold on a second, let me switch this. I worked for systems that had names that wasn't classified. It was the name of the system, is long out acronym for the system, and the system had secret information, and it had TSSCI or whatever, right? It was on different networks or whatever. There's no reason to list the name of that weapon system that I worked on, because people don't know what it is anyway. If it was called 3M XM LOP, right? Nobody knows what that is. And it might be this fancy advanced ground system that talks to satellites and then does all this fancy stuff. And it's doesn't make any sense to put that stuff on there because nobody knows what that is. What I do is I put what operating systems that were on the system, right? Like if it used Linux Red Hat 8, and I got super deep in Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8, I would list that instead of, and maybe that the system was mostly, that's what it was. It was just some application that they used, and it was sitting on top of an operating system, Red Hat or Windows 22 or whatever, right? Whatever the system is, I would put that, because that's the relevant part that everybody knows. They're not going to know what the system name, so don't list that. But to answer your question, yeah, you can add TSSCI on there. I mean, it's fine. I mean, and then security expert, and some people feel differently about it. Security expert says, I don't put TS on my public facing LinkedIn profile. I don't put it on my LinkedIn resume. That I put it on my LinkedIn resume that job hunters can see. And so everybody, people put it different. Like for me, I did, when I had one, I did list it on there, specifically the LinkedIn resume that headhunters see. Yes. So you can still hide it in public, but actually put it out there for everybody to see. And either way is fine. It's at your discretion. It is a very valuable thing to put on your resume, just so you know, because it's very expensive to get a TS or secret, and a public trust for that matter. Like all those things matter. Okay, let me see. Let me see if I got anybody on TikTok talking here. Got a few messages. Okay, Limitless Mind says, I have 10 product manager. I have 10 years. I think they mean 10 years. I have 10 years product management experience. Do I need to have cybersecurity certifications if I have knowledge. I wouldn't say you need cybersecurity certifications. They're just a nice to have. Case in point, Rob Rodriguez, my mentor, somebody who's one of the smartest people I've ever met, one of the most talented human beings I've ever met. We were working at the same place, and that guy was making the most money. He was making the most money on the whole out of our whole unit. He didn't have certification. He didn't have industry level cybersecurity certifications. He did have specific vendor certifications. He worked directly for McAfee, and he was he was like our technical advisor for that system that we were using. And he had to be very deep in that thing. So if something broke, we would go directly to him. He was there with us, and he had certifications for that vendor for those different devices and stuff. But he didn't have a CISSP. He didn't have a Security Plus. He didn't need any of that stuff. So you don't need one, but is it nice to have? Is it more competitive? Yes, absolutely. I mean, another thing to add is that guy, Robert Rodriguez, along with some other people I've met like him, they very specialized people with a knowledge base that's very, very deep and very wide. An architect, so there's not many people like that. Like regular human beings like myself have to get certifications. I've had to do this the hard way. So can you do it without certification? Do you need one? No, you don't need one. If you have a whole bunch of experience, especially if you're very, very deep on one thing that's very, very in need. Like I would say, if you were something like give you a very clear example of what I mean is if you were really deep on a machine learning and you knew how to use what's it called, Tensor, and you really knew how to use Sage, AWS Sage, and you were just very deep on it. You don't need a certification if you know that. you don't need any certifications. You probably don't even need a degree if you know stuff like that. So, and that was Rob. Like Rob knew there was some system he knew from the Marines that like he was very valuable because he knew this one system that he knew very well, and he was able to. That was a transferable skill that allowed him to need a degree or a certification or nothing. Like, and that's kind of how that dude is so sharp and so deep on certain things that he's got such a good fundamental understanding of things. It's like scientists. Scientists don't need like degrees or certs because they have a deep understanding of one thing, a fundamental understanding where it's a transferable skill no matter where they go. So that might be you. You don't need it, but if you want to be competitive in the market, yeah, I would say go ahead and get it. Let me see. Le Regicide says, interesting name, by the way. Says while always security clearance, I cannot read this. It's like written backwards or something. I will join the military part-time for clearance. Oh, that's hilarious. I think he's saying it's always security clearances. I will join the military. You don't need a clearance to do cybersecurity, by the way. They do a background check. A background check is not a clearance. I know a lot of people get very confused about that. And another thing, like these days, I'm moving away from security clearance. I don't even want a security clearance anymore. I had one for my entire adult life, and now I'm just like, I'm done. I'm so done with clearances because a clearance means I have to work. I'm working for the U.S. government, and right now the U.S. government's not doing too good. They're letting people go for no good reason. They're doing a lot of politics inside of our workspace, which is crazy. They're trying to push the politics in our level at a weeds level. Like we're in the weeds fixing computers. Do you want your Linux guy to be partisan? Like, no, you want him to fix the damn computer, right? Fix my computer. That's what you want him to do. But they're getting to a point where they're doing all these politics that are getting rid of good people. Like that's what's happening is we're losing. This is huge brain trust that's leaving the government. It sucks, man. It sucks to see. I love the U.S., man. I want the U.S. to win. But man, the federal government is really fucking up right now, man. They are really fucking up. It's so the incompetence is crazy. This is coming from somebody who's worked in multiple administrations. You didn't see this in the Bush administration. You didn't see this in the Obama administration. You didn't see this in the Clinton administration. We're seeing it now. It's bad, man. I'm telling you, it's bad. They're losing a lot of good people. A lot of good government, civilian, GS workers are leaving and saying, I'm not coming back. A lot of good contractors getting out of this field, going somewhere else. Like a lot of great talent they're telling them, get the hell out of here. We don't want your skills. And they're going to the four winds. And there's a chance they'll not come back, never come back. And I think that it's happening across science too, because they're decimating funding for science. They're decimating anybody who doesn't agree with them. They're just getting rid of it. And they're putting politics inside of all of this. Before, you didn't have to agree with them with stuff. You just got the work done and moved on. But it's getting to a point where they're getting rid of funding because doesn't align with their narratives. And it's crazy. It's just, it's sad to see the destruction of what was once some great departments, and it's across the board. It's across the board. I'm seeing it happen. This is coming from somebody who's been working for the government in my entire adult life, and I've never seen anything like this. And it's just really sad to see. It's sad because like talented people are going to leave and they're not going to come back, right? They might even go to another country. I mean, it's bad. Let me see. I got some more questions here. I feel like it's coming from both sides, and it's beyond reason. Good reason always increases knowledge. It just seems like there's a pendulum that's swinging right and left, and it's been swinging for a while, and now it's just going further and further right or left. And it's what's sad is that when it goes away from science, when it goes away from engineering, and when it starts to decimate those things that don't have its numbers, man, like we're crunching numbers, we're fixing computers, we're not. I don't want to be involved in this political bullshit, but they're not leaving a choice. Like I have to make decisions to protect my family, and if something gets in the way of that, be it a local or state or federal government, I have to make moves to protect them. If I can't rely on the government, but if they're going to get in my way, I'm going to move. I'm going to be like, all right, peace, I'm out. And that's kind of what's happening, and I hate to say it. It sucks to see, man. It really sucks. I don't want to see the U.S. lose, but these are not the moves of a winning organization. The government shut down. Like case in point, the government is shut down, and there's no money going out, and it doesn't make any sense. When you tell me if it makes sense. Your air traffic controllers are not being paid. You've got very important jobs that are not being paid, but you're giving money to another country. You're giving, look it up. Like this is not, these are facts. They're giving money to other countries, but we can't get funding from tax dollars that are already paid out. Like it doesn't make any sense, man. So I just, I'm just telling you guys, like I'm working in this space. I've been in this whole space. I've been in this space since I was my entire adult life. I started off in the military at 20 years old, and I've been working for the federal government most 95% of that time. 90% of the time. I went private sector for some time, but 90% of the time was federal government. And I'd never seen anything like this. So it's not good. Okay, somebody said any advice to get any advice to getting a internship. I have some experience in Azure, Tenable, MDE, and Sentinel, and I have a Security Plus. My first question to you, Kel, would be: Do you have experience? You have some experience. Okay, you did. Okay, I have some experience. Tenable. I mean, what I would do if I were you is I would not look for just an internship. I would look for any kind of position that's going to pay me what I can get. I would make sure I would go to LinkedIn. I would update my profile. I'm doing it right now. So for those of you guys who are wondering what the hell I'm doing, I would go to my profile and I would update it. And I would put all the stuff in it. I would go for not just an internship, right? You're limiting yourself. You're going for one thing. And I would advertise my skill set and get it seen by as many people as possible. There was this one site. The two ways that I've been able to get the most interviews have been LinkedIn Premium. Here's what I would do if I were you, Kel. Go to LinkedIn. Go apply for LinkedIn Premium. It does cost money. But if you're serious about getting a job, you can make all that back. Another place you want to go, and you got to update this, right? If you want an example of how to do it, you can look at mine, or you could just look at other people who already have the job you have. There's a certain pattern that they're using, certain wording that they're using to get people to contact them. You can see all these different messages. I've got tons of messages, people contacting me for different jobs constantly, all kinds of emails, people contacting me. And it's the way I worded my resume. What I did was I'm dialed right into the market that I'm trying to get. I know exactly what things that the employers are looking for. I have it on my resume, and that's what you need to do too. So don't go for just an internship. If an internship comes, and then by all means apply for it. But you want to make it so that your resume is so tasty that they're coming to you on a regular basis. And you don't want to just use LinkedIn. Here's another site. I haven't logged into this one for a while, but I'm gonna have to log into this one here real soon. Hopefully it doesn't have my personal information on there. Let's see. It's called Use Massive. So this is one of the ways I was able to get a whole bunch of interviews. It's an AI native job aggregator. You put your resume in here and it finds matches for you. It does cost money. But again, if you're really looking for something, if you're looking for a position that's going to get you paid, you will get a job from this aggressive method of and so here's some of the interviews that I got offered. Few interviews I got. These are from a few months ago. I did a few of these interviews. I got like 5 interviews from the site. Offered 5 interviews. Didn't take them all. So that's what I would do. Don't limit yourself to just internships. Look, what you need to do is update your resume in such a way, in your profile in such a way that they're coming to you from all sides. Don't just use LinkedIn. Don't just use Massive. Use Dice, Monster, Career Builder. Put it everywhere. But be warned, once you put it on about 5, really 10 is what you need. If you're really serious, put it on 10. But once you put it on about 5, you're gonna get so many, and your stuff is dialed in properly. You'll get so many contacts. You'll get a floodgate of people contacting you for all kinds of opportunities, and it'll be a little bit overwhelming, to be honest with you. Let me see here. I got more comments. Let me just see. If you guys are joining this late, just know my name is Bruce. I've been working in cybersecurity since the year 2000, doing all kinds of jobs as a cybersecurity person, mostly for the federal government And I recently went into cloud security. So that's why I have this free book. If you're interested in AWS CCP book, the only price is clicking the button and getting in there and opening that book up and checking it out. Your time, and if you'd be so kind as to give me a 5-star review, an honest comment, I would really appreciate that. Yeah, Sentinel and Tenable, those are great skills, by the way. Great tools. You just got to make sure you add it to your resume, because if they don't know that you have those skills, then, how are they they won't find you. Appreciate all you guys' questions and comments and stuff. I'll be here for a little bit longer, taking questions. This cert is getting gig. The cert, I'm assuming you mean AWS CCP. So I got the AWS CCP. I don't think that just that cert is going to do it for you. I think that I did get one. I got a job, and I do attribute it to doing the CCP, but my background is in security. So I think that the combination of being in security, being a security person, and they really wanted a security person who knew how to navigate their environment, which the AWS CCP cloud certified cloud practitioner gave me enough understanding to where I knew how to navigate an AWS cloud. And so that's all I needed, right? And I wasn't sure, like the reason why I did the AWS CCP was because I needed a fundamental understanding, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go Azure, Google, or Microsoft, Amazon, or Google, the top three clouds. I didn't know which way I wanted to go. And I'm a GRC cybersecurity guy, so I didn't how deep do I want to go into this? And really my target was AI, to be honest with you. So I didn't really know. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just take a fundamental certification. I think that'll let me know if I really want to do this. It'll let me know if I really want to go deeper into AI or what direction I want to go. And so that's why I did this certification. And it was great. Like, it was a great move, because what it did was it opened my eyes to what cloud really is. It gives you a fundamental understanding enough to where if you know one, the others all make sense too. The reason why I know this is because I took the AWS CCP, and then I also went to take Azure 900, which is their fundamental cloud certification. That's Microsoft's cloud certification. They really have the same things. They both have regions. They have availability zones. They both have VPCs. They just call them different things. So they have all of these different features, and they call these things different things, but they all work. It all works the same. It's as if AWS mastered cloud, and then Microsoft saw how much money they were making, and then copied the exact same thing, and then renamed and rebranded all the same stuff that they are doing. I think that's what happened, because when I took both certifications, when I learned both things, I'm like, these are the same. They just have different names. There's some differences, but I mean, they're very much the same. Anyway, so their question was, if you get that certification, well, I can't guarantee that, but it worked for me. And now I'm to a point where I know I want to do the AWS SAA, which is the architecture associate. So that'll be my next step. And I'm continuing this journey of going deeper and deeper into AWS, and I'm realizing how important it is. And later on, I might go even deeper into security specialization. I don't know yet. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that far. I know for sure, like what I'm practicing for now is to do the next certification, which is an associate. And that one, from what I heard, gives you a whole bunch of jobs. Now that I'm in this market, I'm seeing, like, one of the things I'm seeing is that the AWS CCP is a fundamental certification it was very easy, by the way, like on a scale from 1 to 10, with CISSP being like a 9 or an 8. I talk about this in the book, by the way. If you take all certifications, I've taken many certifications, And I would say AWS CCP it was pretty easy. On a scale from 1 to 10, taking my hardest certification, being hardest ones I've taken was CISSP and CCNA was pretty hard for me. The one I took was hard. They changed it since, I don't know if they made it easier or what, but those were two of the hardest certifications I've ever taken. And CISSP was like a 9. It was very hard. It was very difficult. I would say the easiest test you could possibly take as a 1 would be like a cybersecurity awareness training, like one of those ones you can pass guessing. You know, they ask you very obvious questions. It's multiple guess. It's 9 questions long. A 1. That's a 1, right? AWS CCP is probably, for somebody with an IT background, it's probably like a 3. It's probably like a 3 or a 4. You do have fundamental things you need to learn. If you're a cloud person, it's a 2. it's probably a 2. But for somebody who has an IT background with a little bit of study, you could probably pass it within a couple weeks. I took months, I took my time, but you could pass. It's probably like a 3, right? For an IT person for somebody with no background, it's probably like a 4 or a 5, because you just don't, there's so many different things that you need to know. That's going to be like a bunch of terms that you have to understand that are probably going to be confusing or something. So it'll probably be like a 5 if you have no background at all. But I would say the way I did it was I used leverage. Because number 1, leverage is that I have a background in cybersecurity. Number 2 is I did a lateral move, which is, I always tell people to use this trick. Whatever organization you're in, if you're trying to be an IT person, if you're trying to do something specific, make a lateral move. Just look for jobs within that department or in that organization you're in. So that way you can make a lateral move. Like you're working here as a help desk person, and you want to go to cloud. There's a cloud organization. There's a cloud unit there. Try to make a lateral, go apply for the jobs within the organization. That's what I did. I'm still within the same organization. I'm in a different department, but I'm in the same organization. I did a lateral move. And those two things, having a security background, making a lateral move, really helped me to get that cloud job. And now that I'm in, I'm like, I got it. Now I'm certain I can get a higher paying, more specific job role. Because my new exposure to cloud. Now I know, now I understand what's going on. I get it. And it's really not that, it's not as big a deal as I thought. So, interesting. All right. I got some questions here. Okay. Let's see. A lot of Indian people, and somebody says it throws me off sometimes, but I love my Indian folks. Are you talking about all the calls you get and all the staffing calls you get? Is that what you mean? It's because I think what's happening is, like, large organizations here, they need somebody who's going to call 100 people directly to screen people. And so what they'll do is they hire these cheap, smaller companies to go and call people back to back. And just India just has a whole bunch of those little companies that all they do is staffing. So they've dominated that industry. So I think that's what's happening is they'll get on the call and call 100 people to try to screen as many people as possible to find the right candidates. But yeah, it's a lot of companies from India, and then they'll just get a US phone number and then call you during your hours in Eastern Standard Time. Or I think that's what's happening, because I get a lot of calls from them when I'm looking for jobs. Let me see. The grad school I went to is probably Indian National. Okay, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Maybe I was talking about something completely different. Let me see here. That was a 9.910. Hard for me. You mean the CISSP? Oh, okay. You guys are talking about something else. When it comes to, okay, Larry said, when it comes to cloud certs and learning cloud it's best to pick a lane like AWS or Azure, or go neutral like the CCSP from ISC2 squared. Yeah, absolutely. That's another thing I learned about the market. Another thing I'm picking up is that a lot of people apparently, and this makes sense for AWS. They're saying to skip the CCP and go straight for the SAA. But after taking it, for me personally, I mean, I would say if listen, if you know for sure you're going to go super technical with this, and you already have cloud experience, even if you're from Azure and you're going into AWS, I would say you don't really need AWS CCP. Like if you already a cloud person or have been in a cloud native environment, I would say you just don't need it, right? And you might want to read a couple books to understand the terminology, but you could probably just go straight for an AWS SAA. And which is the next, is an associate. Like CCP, AWS CCP is a fundamental certification. Like, just here's the acronyms, here's what you need to know, here's like it's introducing you to the environment without doing any hands-on. So it's really good for like if you're a GRC person, it's fucking awesome. By the way, it's really good for GRC people. It's really, really good for GRC people. If you are a manager and you have no intention of putting hands on cloud, then yeah, it's really good. If you don't really know, this is where I was, you don't really know how deep you want to go, and you don't know if you want to go to this cloud or that cloud, and you're trying to figure it out, but you want to do a vendor, right? You don't want to go neutral. Then I would say try out the CCP. Like, do the AWS CCP to figure out like which direction you want to go. It'll give you time. It opened up a lot of doors for me personally. So if I could do it over again, that's what I would do again, just because at the time, I didn't know which. I was thinking about doing straight up Azure and going deep into Azure. And I know that the last organization I was in, we had a cloud unit, and they lived and breathed by the CCSP, which is a certified cloud practitioner from ISC2 squared. Certified cloud security practitioner, I believe it is. And that one is neutral, but it's deep and it's neutral. So that one's actually very marketable. That's a good one to get. And it's from the IC2 squared. So that's a good certification. I did my research. So what I realized is that one of the most lucrative certifications, all of the top most lucrative cloud certifications, were in AWS or Azure. And after reading that and realizing how deep I wanted to go, I knew I wanted to get an associate certification, but I didn't know if it was going to be in Azure or it was going to be in Microsoft. Azure. I didn't know if it was going to be Azure or Microsoft. I didn't know if it was going to be in AWS or Azure. And so I had to make a decision. And I knew I want to go to associate level, but it's going to be one of those. The reason why Azure was a option for me is because the last organization I was in, we were doing a lot of Azure. So I would be able to use that as a transferable skill because I already had exposure to it. So that's what I was thinking with that. I completed over 20 technical certifications, but the project management professional PMP certification, which was not technical, proved to be the most challenging for me. Wow. Are you hearing this, Larry? Are you hearing this, Diamond? Oh my God, really? He said that was a 9.910 hard for me. Wow. So PMP is no joke. PMP is an expert level certification. And I know those guys get paid, by the way, paid. So project managers, once you get that P&P under your belt, like multiple jobs should open up. Larry says, super. Oh, thanks for the $20, man. I appreciate you. Much love to Bruce and all for continuing to show up this week. I've been furloughed for a month and some time, and time has flown by, and keeping busy in the community, taking Bruce's course in Security Plus. Thanks, Larry. I really appreciate you, man. I'm hoping that next week they come to a decision for this furlough. If you guys didn't know, Larry works directly for the government, so he's definitely impacted directly by this, as am I. I'm a contractor, and we don't know what's going to happen with we know, like, it's going to end. It's going to at the end of this year, like, I think end of this month, actually, that's it. We don't have any more funding left from the government. So our company will have to go what's called at risk, meaning they got to take out of their own profit to pay us, rather than getting it from the government to pay us to render services, to continue. Or if the government doesn't pay them, they can also say, we're out, we're done. You guys aren't paying us, we're out. And by the way, we're going to sue you because you owe us X amount of dollars. That can also happen. And I don't think they'll do that. I work for the contracting prime organization is pretty solid with the government. So I imagine they'll go at risk. They'll continue to pay us. They might get rid of subcontractors, which is me, and some others that I work with, and furlough us or something like that. So this is not good. I think that next week, knock on wood, they'll come to a decision about it, to at least to continue certain aspects of it. I think what they'll do is next week, and I was totally wrong the first time I spoke on that. I thought this was going to only last a couple weeks. Man, was I wrong. It looks like it's going to go for a while. I think what they'll do is next week they'll come to a decision where they open up parts of the government, but they're going to let this thing go until next year. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong, but the way this is going, it just doesn't seem to be going well. They're not compromising. They're just not coming to any kind of conclusion. It's pretty ridiculous. And it's sad to see. It sucks, man. It sucks to see this happen to your country. I think that the private sector opportunity, I'm thinking about private sector opportunities now. What types of companies would be a go-to for cybersecurity network admin, technical support experience outside of the healthcare industry? Just my 2 cents. There's a couple. Each industry has like these golden children. Financial sector has what's called the Big Four, which is in Professor Black Ops talks about that sometimes. But it's let me see if I can. Big Four accounting firms. That's what it is. There is Deloitte, Ernst & Young, KPMG, Pricewaterhouse. If you're talking about the financial sector, those are the big guys on the block. If you even get those on your resume, that's a big deal. For the federal government, if you're a contractor, the private sector, if you're talking about private sector working with the government, then it's probably going to be the global security companies like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon. There's a whole bunch of them. Northrop Grumman. What else? Peraton. There's a whole bunch of them, but those are like the top ones. They just have the most contracts. And even they're so solid that even with this shutdown, they're gonna just continue to pay their people. And then as soon as the government opens back up, they'll be back on board. So those are the big guys on the block for the U.S. federal government. And there's others too. I didn't, let me see. You said outside of the healthcare industry. Other organizations, the obvious ones would be Google and what's called FANG, which is Facebook Meta, Alphabet, which is Google, Netflix, Google's the G in Fang, and then another one added would be Nvidia, and OpenAI would be a part of that. All the big guys who are blue chip companies that are on track to be multi-trillion-dollar companies. If you can get into those companies, even with all the layoffs, even with all the news and all the stuff going on, if you can get into one of those in the private sector, like just having that on your resume is going to open up other doors. So those are just off the top of my head in the private sector. These are some of the great, the big guys on the block that if you get just having their name on your resume is a big deal. Let me see. Go to for cybersecurity. Yeah, I would say that for all the cybersecurity companies. There's an other big ones, like there's purely cybersecurity companies. If you work for them, they're going to open up some doors, like Splunk, which I think is owned by Cisco now, and Palo Alto, which I don't know. Yeah, Palo Alto is another one. The purely cybersecurity companies are also good to get in on. Yeah, but those are the, if you can get your foot in the door at those, any of those ones, like any kind of big name, multi-billion-dollar. Another thing is, after working with Verizon, it opened up my eyes to, people don't normally talk about Verizon, but Verizon is a multi-billion-dollar international company. And it showed when I was working there. I was like, these guys have money, right? They had great benefits. It was one of the best companies I've worked for since, and I'm in talks to maybe go back, so I don't know if I will or if they'll offer me anything or something like that, but man, that was a damn good company. But I would say probably in that running, cybersecurity, they have a separate side. It's not like you're gonna be selling cell phones. They have a separate cybersecurity or a separate fiber network part of their company, and they're very well funded. And so AT&T, T-Mobile, Cox, all the broadband companies, they all have a unit like this. So any one of those will be good too to work for, because you'll get exposure to all kinds of technology and be a part of well-funded teams and things like that. So just keep your eyes open for that. The best way to find them is just to get your resume tightened up and put it out there, and then they'll find you. And then also look for them. Like OpenAI has these positions open right now. OpenAI has a ton of positions open, and they pay really good. Another one's Anthropic. All the giant AI companies are hiring like crazy because their growth is explosive right now. There's all this talk about job loss and then letting people go, but I'm telling you, cybersecurity, they're getting hacked right now as we speak, and so these are important jobs that we're doing. So you got to just put yourself out there to get seen. Let me see here. Looking at TikTok here. Let me see. Somebody said, I am a lamp seeker. Okay. Said, you should feel the job market. You feel the job market is strong for AWS down the road. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that, I believe that cloud and cybersecurity is going to grow. Cloud in particular is going to continue to grow. And the reason why I say this, cloud in particular is going to grow because what's happening right now is that AI requires cloud. Like the way it works is it uses cloud. They're using the infrastructure of cloud. They're using the infrastructure of Google. They're using the infrastructure of Microsoft. They're using the infrastructure of Amazon, which is AWS is Amazon. So they need this in order to continue to grow. And remember, these guys they have their audience and their customer base is planet Earth. It's all humans. So the more people who have access to phones, who have access to the internet, they're competing with planet Earth. They're competing directly with China, DeepSeek, and all the other Alibaba. They're way ahead of those guys by market share and by how many people are active users on their platforms. It's amazing. There's a lot of talk about it being a bubble and stuff, and that might be true. I don't, I'm not sure. I can't speak on, not a macroeconomist or whatever. I don't know that, but I can tell you that more and more people are using it. And social media, man, every service we're using is including their services, is including OpenAI, Anthropic, Perplexity, and Alibaba, and all those DeepSeek, all of they're using their resource. They're using APIs to reach out to their AI infrastructure, and their infrastructure is built on cloud. So yes, like cloud is going to continue to grow, and I'm noticing more and more things going that direction. So yeah, and even the cloud, the technology itself, even if you were to put the cloud on your own premises, which you can do, you can put cloud type technologies on-prem, meaning inside of your network. You still need to know some of that technology, how instances are stood up, how you would use an S3 storage to store the objects and stuff on your network, how their databases work. The way they do stuff is also very revolutionary. So even knowing that stuff, like it's not going to go anywhere, man. Like it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Somebody said I work for ISE. There's a lot of discussion going on TikTok. That's great. I'm about to test for the CISM, but thinking about going AWS next. Yeah, that's a great move. CISM is a great certification, along with that's right underneath CISA. I mean, CISSP. It goes CISSP right now. Like it's changing constantly. CISSP, CISA, CISM. Those are the top certifications for security. And like having the security under my belt, and then knowing cloud, man, it's opening up doors. That's a great move. How to pass the CISSP? What's the ideal months to study to get past? I'm not the right person to ask, because I took a year to study it. I took a year to study it, which is insane. I know people who took it like study for a couple months and passed it, but me, I'm paranoid and I really want to learn this stuff. So I took a whole year to just do nothing but study it. And then I was so nervous right before I was about to take it. So the store, okay, let me back up. So I got hired when I got out of the military. My first job was with the Army as a contractor. I was a field tech doing mostly like we were like Unix admins. Me and hopefully one of these days I have Ramsey on this show, man. That'd be great. But me and Ramsey, man, and we were field techs, and that guy was my first mentor. And that's all I was doing. But then something happened with the organization. I was working with Northrop Grumman or whatever, and I left, and I went back to my roots, which was GRC. And when I went to GRC, I was offered this job, but they said, look, if we want to give you this job, but there's one catch. You have to get a CISSP in 6 months of getting here. I was like, okay. I'm thinking about taking the CISSP anyway. And they said, by the way, we'll pay for it. And I said, cool. So they hired me as an ISO. I was an information system security officer doing GRC work for an Air Force unit. And I had to take the CISSP, and I studied my ass off, and I realized like everybody there had a CISSP except for me. And me, I was just very technical. I had a lot of hands-on experience with networking, and I could set up routing protocols, and I was had a Unix background and all this kind of stuff. And I it was my first. I had never had a job like that before. Well, I'd done a little bit of that in the Air Force, and that's how I got the job. I'd done a little bit of ISO work in the Air Force. So yeah, so it was just different. Anyway, so I had to take the CISSP, and I was so nervous that I didn't take it. I said, look, I talked to my boss. I said, look, is it okay if I take the Security Plus? Because I don't know if I'm going to pass this test. Like CISP, there's so much going on with it. And he said, yeah, but I really won't need you to have that CISSP. So just go ahead and take it. I'll see if that'll fly with my boss. But so I'm like, okay. And I took the Security Plus and passed it. And they're still like, okay, great. You have the Security Plus, but you have to have a CISSP. So I'm like, all right. So I continued to study. Like I was using the Security Plus in order to help me with the CISSP. And I was so nervous to take it. It took me a full year of studying. And what I would do is I would take the book, the official guide, and I would take notes. I would make my own notes on each chapter. And that's how I passed it. So yeah, I'm not the right person to ask about that. It is a very difficult certification. But you can do it. It's just if you I think you just focus on one thing at a time. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. There's AI, there's all this cloud stuff, there's all these different certifications out there, and it's very easy to get distracted. I would say just do one thing at a time. Just focus on, if it's CISP is your goal, focus on that one thing, pass that, and then open it up to one more thing. So that'd be my advice if you're trying to do a C. And CISP is no joke. Like it single-handedly opened up probably the most doors were open because of that certification, and it continues to work. I took that certification a long ass time ago. Like I took that in like 2006. I think I took it in 2006. I've had that for a long time. I'm never ever taking that certification again. If I lose this certification, I can guarantee you I'm not taking that certification again. I'm never taking that certification again. Maybe if I lose it, I'll just go and take the CISA or something. I'm not doing that one again. Let me see. I think the issue of jobs to me is the fact that we don't get American to interview us on again, only Indians. No, that's not true. Smith Love says, I think the issue, okay, he's saying that you don't get the issue is that you get Indians who are contacting you doing an interview. No, they do screening. That's not an interview. They'll do screening. Like they'll contact you, ask you basic questions like, do you want this job? It's not an interview. Do you want this job? Do you live in California? Do you have this certification? Okay, I'm going to contact the employer, and then the real interview happens. Like when that next person, the technical person, contacts you, or the hiring manager, that's when the first interview happens. But they're just screeners. Screening is not an interview, man. And somebody else says, is it good to start in cybersecurity intern in a SMB? What's an SMB? Before going to enterprise, the control SMB. I don't know what SMB. It wasn't SMB. Can somebody tell me maybe I'm having a brain fart. What is an SMB? Okay, I have to know what that is to answer that question. SMB. Security management? I don't know what SMB is. Let me see. Security expert says a complete vendor. I completed the vendor neutral CCSP and the CCSK certifications before attempting to attack the Azure and Amazon. So which one would you say it was a more difficult one to do? Or what's your stance on that? Is it more difficult? Is it like a higher level certification? Where do you stand on that? And which one? I have a lot of questions here. Which one would you say gave you the most um jobs, like people ask you about or you're contacted based off of that? Security expert. I'm very curious about that. Small, medium business. Oh, okay. So my bad. I okay, let me read your question again. Okay. You said is it a good start? Is it a good start to do cybersecurity intern at a small medium business before going to enterprise? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. As a matter of fact, like sometimes the smaller businesses give you more exposure, deeper exposure to. Sometimes those guys have better experience than guys who've been in the enterprise, because in the enterprise normally, I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been in small organizations where if we were setting up a firewall, we were setting up the firewall. Like we were putting the rules in. We were standing, we were testing it out. We might even bought the damn thing and do a, what's it called? Bill of sale. We were involved with the entire process from start to finish. We had to do a research to figure out if it was what firewall to get. We had to get with the vendor to figure out if they did certain things with that firewall. Then when we had to purchase the firewall. We had another organization purchase it. We got it. We had to pull it out of the box, connect it up. We had to put an IP address on it, and then you had to put the rules on it. We had to do everything at some of the smaller organizations that I was in. The difference is usually with enterprise, like with a giant organization, your exposure is more limited because sometimes you do get all that level of exposure, but normally what happens is that you have blinders on. You're only doing one thing. You're not hooking up the whole thing. You're not buying it. You're not doing the all you do if you're a firewall guy is set up rules. That's it. You set up the rules. You're not connecting the internet, working things. So all you know is your one part. Now you're very deep in that one part, but you're doing your one thing, and then that's it in the bigger organizations. Am I right? I mean, that's been my experience, and it does vary from place to place. But you can get into a small organization and do a lot of things. Like a lot of the sharpest dudes who I've met, like one man, I'll give you an example. Gigi. She is a firewall guy, and she was at a small organization, and she was super deep in firewalls because she did everything. And she's one of the sharpest IT people I know. So a lot of the sharpest IT people are very, very deep and very, very clever and they really know this thing. They came from a small business or a medium-sized business. So and the people who come from large organizations, they know their one part, not to take anything away from them, but yeah, absolutely. So to answer your question, I mean, coming from a small organization or a medium-sized organization and going to a gigantic organization, I would say the only benefit that somebody from a gigantic organization has over smaller business is the name. Like if you came from Deloitte, like a gigantic organization, or you came from IBM or something, just putting that on your resume is a big deal. But other than that, the experience could be, you could get super sharp on in a small organization. Okay, let me see. And you guys chime in on that if you guys have a different point of view on that. I'll read it. Okay, let me see. Going back to my question with security expert, when I asked security expert who has a who took the vendor neutral CCSP, CCSK certifications before attempting to attack the Azure Amazon. And then he said, and then my question was, well, which one had more impact? Which one was more difficult? And then he responded with CCSP is more difficult. Okay, all right. So that's the certified cloud security practitioner from ISC2 Squared. And let me see. He said the CCSK is just a certificate. Okay. And then CCSP is actually a certification. All right, I didn't know that there was a difference between. I didn't know it was just a cert. He said that CCSP got me more, but got me the most hits on LinkedIn. CCSK got me no hits. Okay, good to know, man. That's great information. Great information. Yeah, CCSP was our go-to at Verizon. That was one of the ones they required us to get. I think there was, I can't remember what AWS cert. We could either get an AWS cert or what was it? And there was an Azure, but you had to, I don't know if it was professional level or what, but there was some level we had to get. But CCSP was the one normally people would get and highly sought after certification. So it's no joke. Let me see here. Larry says, PMP is still among the most difficult, but most regarded according to the chart. Yes, it is. It's an expert level certification. As a matter of fact, a lot of my peers have gotten that certification. It's no joke. High level people in my teams have had the PMP. Purely cybersecurity people, like that's all they do, and they would get the PMP. And I always wondered, like, why? Like, why are they getting this? I had no idea PMP was such a highly regarded certification, and the pay on it is crazy. The pay that you can get from a PMP is on another. Watch, let me show you. See, let me just give you something to compare it to. See, CISSP salary. Now, this doesn't go into like the year that you're taking it or the place you're taking it, but the average salary of somebody who has a CISSP, this is about right. That is about right. That doesn't take into account like how many years you have of experience or what state you're in. There's a lot of other factors that go into this, but this is about right. CISSP is no joke. Now let's look at the PMP. PMP. Okay, I'm not sharing my screen. I just realized. Let me see. Sorry about that, guys. Let me go to somewhere I can share the screen here. I'm sharing it with TikTok and not with you guys. Okay, let me start over again. So as I was saying, the PMP is no joke. But I started off with showing you the salary of the CISSP. Let me show my screen real quick. Let me show it on this. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So what I was saying is CISSP salary. All I did was you can go to Bing or Google or whatever, DuckDuckGo, type in CISSP salary, and it shows us a range of $120,000 to $127,000 annually, and that's about right. Also goes into, well, if you have an entry level position, it's going to be more like 70,000. And it also doesn't take into account location and all that kind of stuff. Now, let's say PMP. Let's go here. Let's going to type in just PMP and see how much the average salary. Look at that. It's about the same. It's expert level certification. It's no joke. Especially, you probably make more than this if you have years and years of experience as a project manager. And then another thing is project managers can move up to program managers who like run the whole show. And those guys I'm sure make more than this. So yeah, so that's it's PMP is serious. It's a serious certification. Yeah, and then you point out that pauljeremy.com security certification roadmap mentions that the PMP certification is considered a expert level certification. Expert level certifications are no joke. Somebody asked me, is pen testing remote? Is pen testing remote? It can be. It can be. Pen testing. Let's look at some remote pen testing jobs. Absolutely, it can be. So here I am on LinkedIn. I'm just going to go and look for pen test. I'm just going to type in pen test and look at jobs. So there's 4,000 results that's based on the U.S. You probably want to filter this by month or day or week or whatever, but we're just going to leave it open because we're just trying to see how many remote jobs. But yes, the answer is yes, but I just want to show you, I want to demonstrate. There's 1,000 that are available right here in the United States. These are all remote. Now, they're not going to be called straight up pen testing jobs, but these are jobs that do pen testing. So the names of these you'll notice are things like cybersecurity QA auditor, who have to do pen testing, FedRAMP security assessor, who they probably need a pen test guy to help them out with that, AI security specialist. I don't know why that's here. Pen tester, straight up pen tester, remote. Look at that, remote. Let me see, ethical hacker, 100. This one's probably temporary, but it's $100 an hour. Here's another one, pen tester, $120 a year. $120,000 a year. Pen tester. Yeah, these are all remote positions. So yes, the answer is yes. They don't always call it pen tester. They have different names for it. And this is why you got to tighten up your resume. To tighten up your resume, to know what to put on it, I would do this. Go to people. I'm on LinkedIn. I looked at pen tester and I'm looking at people right now. And if you look at these people, look at what they have on their resume. You'll notice a pattern. If you look through enough of these, you'll see a certain pattern of what they have on their resume, places they've worked, types of hands-on experience they have, what wording they use to get them listed on the top of LinkedIn, to get all these different. One thing to notice is that if you see these people, whenever you type in whatever keyword, these top people, I can guarantee you they're getting a lot of contacts, because they are not just number one for me. They're number one for everyone in the United States. For most people, they're going to be number one. So just so you know, type it, test it out. If I'm lying to you, at the very least, everybody in my area is going to see these guys as number one, which means they're getting lots of contacts from different employers. Because the employers, a lot of times, are doing the same thing I'm doing. They type in certain skill sets. But anyway, to answer your question, yes, pen testing can be remote. All right, let me see here. Okay, there we go. Okay, more comments and questions. Thanks, guys, for all your great comments, great conversation. And Larry and Bruce, yep, CISSP and PMP get me the most hits on LinkedIn. Same here. The CISSP gets me the most doors open, the most contacts. Matter of fact, like, people contact me for random stuff that I have nothing to do with. I get a lot of like Wi-Fi testing, which I don't know why. I'm not sure. There's some things that people contact me about, and I don't know why they're contacting me. And I think it's just because they see CISSP on my certification, on my resume. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with that. It's weird. But yeah, I get a lot of contacts. Bruce, is your goal to remain working in cloud-based security in a supervisor ISSO type role, but cloud security based? Or are you preferring to remain more hands-on GRC cloud? I'm trying to go, really, it's not whether or not for me. I'm thinking of my main goal is to get a position as I'm trying to get a job where I'm doing I'm working from anywhere. It's very different from work from home. Work from anywhere means I can work from another country. That's my main goal. I don't care if it's a supervisor position. I don't care if it's 100% hands-on or 100% GRC. I'm targeting jobs where I can work from anywhere. I've been working from home since the year 2014. Yeah, I've been working from home. It's weird to say because it was a dream of mine before. I didn't even think it was possible before this. It's weird to say I've been doing this for so long. But what I've realized is that as I've gotten older, I'm wanting to live abroad. I'm wanting to maybe have one foot in the US and one foot in another country. So my ultimate goal is to work from anywhere. And that journey has taken me to cloud. I've noticed that many of the high paying work from anywhere jobs, work from anywhere. Look, okay, let me explain. Let me back up. Let me give you guys a whole picture. Okay. Remote jobs are not all the same. All right. So having done this since the year 2014, what I realized is they're not all the same. Some are hybrid, which means you work from home, but they want you to work in the office every now and then, like once a week, or it might not even be that many times. Sometimes they'll like, oh, we want you to come in because we want you to meet staff, whatever. So it's like a hybrid job. They want the company wants the option of pulling you in at any time at a local office somewhere. So you have like a satellite office that you go to every now and then. That's like kind of like what I did at Verizon. It was a hybrid, but it was very flexible. And then you have 100% remote, but you have to stay within the United States. That's most jobs. Most of them want you to stay within the United States. So 100% remote usually means 100% remote, but you have to stay in the US. Then you've got a remote, but it just means you're in a specific state. It's remote, but you have to be in a city or a state or whatever. There's a boundary. You can't be working in other states or whatever. There's different levels to this. I've only worked a few times at an organization where it was work from 100% anywhere, and it was incredible. I had a part-time job where I worked from anywhere, where all I was doing was writing policies. And what I've noticed in the market right now is that there's a lot of the high-paying ones there are some writing ones, but they're not as many as cloud. I've noticed there's a lot of cloud jobs that are work from anywhere and with smaller companies. That's going to exclude the military. So I'm not going to be able to work for the federal government, military, or none of that. I'm not going to be able to work for none of them. But I'm okay with that. I've been slowly kind of weaning myself away from it with my skill set. I won't be able to do that. In order to make more money, I have to be more technical. So that's another thing. I could find a job where I do just writing, but those don't pay as much. They're way more competitive. They exist, but there's a lot of one-off jobs to do that too. And that's like a purely 100% compliance, GRC compliance job, which do exist. It's just, it's not as many of them that pay a lot. Or maybe I'm just not looking in the right place. I don't know. That's the direction I'm going. I'm going for more technical, away from the U.S. government, that I can work from anywhere. And I like technology too. That's another thing is I want to remain like technical because I actually like what I do. I actually enjoy it. I'm getting better at it, and it's weird because I'm older now. So I like it. So that's kind of direction I'm trying to go. I think that GRC is going to be relevant because I'm so deep on it and whenever I go to an organization, normally I end up speaking on that because I just know a lot about it. So as soon as I start talking about it, they're like, "Oh, this guy knows a lot about that." And then they're like, "Hey, could you write this thing here?" So I want to keep it, but I want to do 100% remote, more technical, hands-on, and if it's writing, maybe part-time because I can do that too. And then another thing is I'm trying to expand what types of income I have. That being investing, business, other types of income, which is why I write the books and all that kind of stuff, courses and books and all that. I'm trying to diversify what types of money I make. It's just gotten more important for independence. I've done this my whole adult life, and I just noticed it's great. Like, I would encourage anybody to do it. It makes really good money. Work from home is incredible. Especially if you got kids or something, it gives you more time to be around your family and kids and stuff. It's been very rewarding, but now I'm trying to graduate to another level, and that means I have to diversify what types of money I make. Meaning I'm not just an employee, but I have other income coming in from other royalties or investments or whatever it is. And then I have to be more technical. I can't rely on my TSSCI anymore, right? Because most TS jobs or secret clearance jobs you can't be outside of the U.S. government. You can't be outside of CONUS, continental United States. So that's kind of where I'm going, and I'm hoping to take a few of you guys with me, if you're willing. Like, I'm gonna be very transparent about what I'm doing because it's been so amazing and so rewarding. I want to share what I know, with people who are willing to listen. Thanks for that question, Larry. I appreciate that, man. And security expert said, Bruce, same. I've been working from home for over a decade, and it's been great. It's incredible. I love working from home. I'm not complaining about it. I do want to work from anywhere, though. That's my next step. I haven't done it work from home as long as you guys. I'm in my exposure of about 4 years. Oh, you've been doing it for about 4 years since COVID. It's given me a great work-life balance that will be hard to go back. Yeah. Yeah, I was never a fan of working in the office. I was just, it was okay. It wasn't okay. It wasn't bad. I'm not complaining about it. It's just working from home for me has been way, way, way better, especially given my situation. I've had to be around my kids a little bit more to take care of them. And I enjoy being around my spouse. I really enjoy it. So me being able to do that for me has been a real huge blessing. And that's why I talk about working from home, because it's great, but it's not for everybody. And when you're starting out, like, a lot of entry level people contact me and they want to work from home, and it's not like there's most entry level cyber IT jobs are not going to be work from home. They're going to be in the office. That's just how it starts. And that's just how it is. But let me see if there's any other questions or comments. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, man. Larry, thank you so much for that liquid death fund money. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, security expert. I always enjoy your expertise and your perspective. Really, I'm learning stuff all the time. I did not know about the SK, the CCSK. I didn't know that was just a certificate. Appreciate that. I'm all about I'm all on board, brother, trying to do what I can to make sure I'm on the GRC train. Yeah, man. What's on the bingo card? Bingo card for 2026. That's a good point. Wherever it takes me, being um, yes, man, I hear you. Yep. That's a great. I love that. On the bingo card for 2026. What is on the bingo card for 2026? I guess we'll have to talk about that real soon. But GRC is definitely on it, right? All right, guys, I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate everybody. We've been talking for over 2 hours. The book is out right now. It's only going to be out till Tuesday for 4 days. You know, you guys, I do this all the time, or I'll come out with a course or a book and it's free for some time, or very low pay, very low amount for some time, and then the price goes up. So if you are interested in learning the basics about AWS CCP, there's a book that's free for a limited time. Go to ConvoCourses.com to find the free for a limited time link. And it's on Amazon as a KDP. I'm working right now on a hands-on book companion to that will walk you through what you need to do in AWS. It'll be it'll be a part of that book once I'm done with that. So it'll take me about a month to do, but working on that one right now. If you guys go to ConvoCourses.com, login.convocourses.com, you'll see our community where there's other free stuff that I'm slowly trickling more free content on there, as well as paid. Some of the deeper dives into things that'll be paid, or books or whatever. And I'm totally on board with promoting other people's stuff, especially if we have some really good stuff. We got Ryan is working on a Security Plus, like a cheat sheet that's really awesome. It's really incredible. He's also got a free the Mango out there, which is the CGRC book that walks you through that certification. So I want to put more stuff out there. I want to put, you name it. I'm open to project management, anything that's within our sphere of GRC stuff. I would really love to put more stuff out there for everyone to use, paid material, books, courses, services, anything. I'm open to it because I want the community to be something that helps other people. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate everyone. I will talk to you guys on the site. If you're on there, then that's where you'll find me. See you guys later.